I think a lot of couples would be scared to go to a sex club together.
I think you're right. But in most couples, it's probably one partner wants to convince the other partner to go. Our case was a little bit different. Once we thought about the idea, it took us a while. We actually had to convince each other.
Why would a monogamous couple go to a sex club?
That's a darn good question.
Well, first of all, we do a lot of crazy things for research.
That's right. All in the name of research.
So when we were down in Las Vegas a couple of years ago for another reason, I couldn't think of a reason not to go to one.
So I saw her online searching all the different sex clubs in Las Vegas until finally she came up with the one we went to.
It was a place out of time.
Yeah, out of time, like almost 50 years ago.
The pom-poms and the beaded curtains.
The velvet. I remember there being a lot of red velvet around.
The ancient porn playing on the big screen, which wasn't very big.
No, it wasn't, which was actually probably a good thing. All the people sitting around wondering what to do next.
You said something that made me laugh. You said you felt like we're there like on a reconnaissance mission, kind of checking it all out. And at some point you said, I feel like we're a couple of private dicks. One reason for us to go, besides the research,
And the fact that we'd never been.
right, was I think probably I'd been talking about it for a few weeks before we got down there. And it gave us a lot to talk about.
It did. Yeah, I mean, it gave us a lot more to talk about than we actually ended up doing.
It's true.
We definitely had our adrenaline going. It was definitely a fun date.
We didn't go with the idea that we would actually have sex with anybody else.
In fact, I think when we went, we weren't even thinking we were going to have sex at all, period, even with each other. But
I'm with a guy, and at some point before we left, he wasn't going to leave without having sex at the sex club.
well, yeah, I'm thinking that this is the only time I ever go to a sex club. We should have sex, right? So we went upstairs. We found a private room, as private as you get in a sex club, which isn't super private, but we were the only two in the room. Let's put it that way. And yeah, we had sex in a sex club, just to say that we did.
I had sex in a sex club just so he could say that he did.
Right.
Because I wasn't that into it, but yeah, definitely you were into it, so we did it.
Now, let me ask you this: are you happy we did?
Oh, I'm happy because we get to talk about it, and that's fun. I'm glad I had a towel with me. Put down on that. Let's reel it back a little bit. So,
Okay.
one of the things I found fascinating about the place was it really wasn't a free for all, and I thought that was my conception. I know all clubs are different, and I know it'd be different later in the evening. We went on the early side. We talked to the parking lot attendant. He was fascinating. He'd been there 30 years. He'd seen everything.
That's right. He was a wealth of information.
And there were people having sex in the open.
It was kind of like us, right? To go and have sex in the sex club, only they were a little bit more out there, right? They're like, okay, we're going to have sex in the sex club in public. And I think that's what some of them were there for. It was more of a display. So, and that was fine. It was interesting.
Also, this wasn't one of the newer clubs that...
No, it was not
Not
one of the
at
newer
all.
clubs. In fact, I seem to recall that there were a lot of regulars there that looked like they'd been coming...
Since it opened in
Pretty much since
1972.
Right, exactly.
And I think one of the things that made this different and maybe not as attractive for some people was that there were single men allowed in this club.
Right.
And so there were a disproportionate number of single men. So would you go again?
I don't know that I'd go back to the same place.
I definitely wouldn't.
But, it would be...
You'd have to go without me.
It would be interesting to go to a different one for comparison's sake. Just to see, are they all like the first one that we went to?
They're not.
They're not. Okay. Well, then I guess maybe we have to schedule another visit.
I'll go to another one with you someday.
Cool.
When the pandemic's well over.
I look forward to that.